gotta say, last night when we did the fan appreciation night, that shit kicked ass, man.
Wasn't that great? I loved it. I thought it was a good time. I wish we would have maybe loaded up a couple of more people, but that was a lot of fun, and I think everybody that called in really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think a lot of people had a lot of fun, and I'm glad everybody who listened in. I got a lot of messages, people saying, "Hey, that was awesome, thank you," so forth and so on. So I'm glad everyone enjoyed it. And tonight, as per request of Twister in the chat room, probably tonight's going to be 100% clothes optional.
Oh no, tonight's naked. I forgot to tell Keith. Tonight's naked GCR, Keith. Strip down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get naked. Tell Tracy it's naked. It's naked radio tonight. Yeah.
Naked radio.
I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna tell her in the chat room.
Tonight we have a great show, though. We have Keith Ramsey on from Deep South Paranormal. I've had the privilege of hanging out with Keith a couple years ago down in Aiken, South Carolina, at that Paracon that Lee was holding on, and it was cool hanging out with him then. So I'm actually kind of honored to have him on the show tonight.
Awesome.
So that was a great time out there. That was a great time. That was my first event, and it was outstanding. Meeting the new folks and everything, and meeting you and everything, hanging out.
Yeah, it was a fantastic cool event.
Oh, that's cool, Jason. Did you know that was Keith's first event? How cool was that?
That was his first event, and if I'm not mistaken, I had him. I did a live broadcast for a couple hours, and I believe I had him and a couple of the other members from Deep South on the show. And
that's cool. Very fun. It was about time Keith made the rounds and got back around to Ghost Chat Radio then. Sounds like it's been a little while.
Well, that was a couple of years ago.
Oh, well, he's had all kinds of trouble since then, so I'm sure that all of our listeners really want to catch up to Keith. Keith and I have been Facebook friends for a little while, but about a minute, and I had the opportunity of meeting Keith, and I guess it was Benny down at an event over in Tennessee. Oh God, I guess it was maybe about a year ago now, and so I got to talk to them a little bit over there, and I didn't really get to hang out with them. I would have loved to hang out with them. I was a little bit disappointed that I arrived late at the event, and I heard that Keith had broken out some fucking awesome moonshine the night before, that everybody was plastered, and, it's very typical of me to be late to anything. So I totally missed out on that shit. So
you're never even late on your period, are you?
I know, right? But anytime there's something like that going on, I totally missed it. And so, the next time, I'm going to see y'all coming over from Alabama, there needs to be some kind of shine involved, sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, we'll make up for it.
Yeah, I'm down. I am down for that, absolutely. And, when I saw Keith was actually, I guess he was dating Tracy Ray back then, but he was still single then. Now he's up and got married and everything since I've seen him, but it's all good. I have to, this is Ghost Chat Radio, so I still get to flirt with all the guests anyhow.
It's all about having fun.
Yeah, of course.
Tell me, before we continue on, and we might as well get one quick news story off, Jodi. What kind of news do we have tonight?
Totally. Well, Keith does not know that we do a little weird news. We like to kick off the show with that. And it's, whatever we can find online. And you're welcome. We would love it if you want to jump in and share whatever your opinions are or make comments. But, just a little fun kind of Halloween stories tonight. The first thing that I have is actually from the Mirror. Not necessarily the most reputable news site, but it's got a really cool picture, and we're going to go ahead and post that for y'all on the Ghost Chat Radio fan page there on Facebook. But it's a stunning snap of the sun and solar flares, which are captured by NASA, and it actually looks just like a Halloween pumpkin. And you know what? It really does. It's very cool. So with the glowing orange rim, 2 fiery eyes, a nose, and a mouth. The image looks just like you carved a pumpkin with a candle inside because it's glowing, but it's actually a picture of the sun. And so they did a side-by-side picture of it, with a Halloween jack-o'-lantern. And, we'll post that. And it just says, put the knife down and blow out the candles and take the pumpkins back to the supermarket, because if you're planning on scoping out the title for the world's best jack-o'-lantern, admit that you're defeated because you've lost. Because no one in the world is going to top this Halloween masterpiece. And if you've got a problem with that, take it up with the sun, because it was a burning star that captured this stunning photograph by a NASA spacecraft that turned on a stunning display, of course, just in time for the scariest month of the year, October, and just in time for Halloween. They just posted this picture, and it's a ghoulish creation. It looks like the best pumpkin you've ever seen, complete with beady eyes and an evil grin. So it's a pumpkin sun, and it's actually a photograph of the active regions of the sun and a series of solar flares that went off, and they captured this view by using specialist equipment that is able to withstand the blinding glare that causes humans to look away from the sun, which of course burns at a super hot 5,500 degrees Celsius. So, the active regions appear brighter because all of those areas emit more light and energy, which mark an intense and complex set of magnetic fields hovering in the sun's atmosphere, the corona. But anyway, it's a cool picture. I thought really fun, since of course Halloween is on Friday. So we'll post that for you. It's a cute story. Have you seen this picture, Jason?
I have not, and I still haven't even made it to my computer yet, so I will see it momentarily. I will.
It's in your email.
I'm on my phone.
I'm teasing. I'm just giving you some shit.
I know.
Have you seen it, Keith? Have you seen that picture? It just came out this week.
No, I have not. No.
I thought it was fun, and so anyway, I thought I would kick it off with that. Then the other story I had was women of the early 1900s rallied behind beautiful, wartless witches. Okay? And this is actually from the Smithsonian site, which is, of course, a much more credible site where we get news. And, it talks about, not unlike today, women's magazines always, dictate how Halloween should be celebrated. They always show what decorations you should have to throw a memorable party. But, back in the, old days, the holiday was very different. There was no trick-or-treating. And, originally there was a whole lot less fright and a whole lot less gore. It wasn't really meant to be super scary. And I don't know if everybody knows that. Jason, you would have hated it. So, Daniel Gifford, the person who wrote the story for the Smithsonian, says it was actually meant, originally Halloween was meant to be a party for women to think about courtship, love, and romance. And they invited, mixed-sex crowds to these parties so they could, bob for apples, Jason, where faces come very close to each other. And, he works for the National Museum of American History, and he's an expert on American holidays, and he's collected and studied, hundreds of postcards and Halloween-themed items, and he's particularly interested in illustrations of witches. And, he's commenting on the archetype of the hag, which I love that, with the hooked nose, the warts, and the straggly hair, and the cauldron. And, this image has pervaded art and literature, and think of the witches in Shakespeare's Macbeth. They had Eye of Newt and Toe of Frog in their potions, and the villains created in things like Snow White and Hansel and Gretel, and even in Sleeping Beauty. They always tend to portray the witches as sorceresses, usually very curvy. So they're not necessarily what we would call super sexy by today's standards, but, the author's also commenting that there's always seeming to be erotic elements around witches as well. I don't know what you guys think about that, but this is the period of new women, but it also comments on the fact that witches traditionally were seen as having lots of power, and so perhaps women wanted to subsume. They wanted to have power, but they didn't want to seem ugly for wanting to do that. Back in the day, they just wanted to try to, get sense or control of their own lives. So I thought it was another good sort of a Halloween themed story to talk about today. What was different about witches then and now. But, personally, I like the creepy witches. I like today's witch. What do you guys think? Yeah. I do. I like.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you. It's my aunt. When I was a kid, dressed as a witch every Halloween, and she was so believable and so real that that was the only night that I wouldn't get very close to her.
You were scared. You were scared. I'll bet. When you were scared.
She was very convincing.
Oh, wow. So she just full makeup and the whole outfit and the whole thing?
Oh, yeah, and she was out. You see, my dad owned businesses. I growed up around my dad running his bars and grocery stores. At this time, he had a couple of different businesses going. A wine beverage store, and then he ran a nightclub also. Cool. And then I had an uncle, his brother, that ran a beverage store also, my Uncle Billy Jean, and that's where the Halloween thing would go down every year, where she would do the witch, and he would put his coffin out on the sidewalk, and he went as Dracula. And
oh, cool!
It was awesome, but with her doing the witch, it was pretty creepy. And which reminds me of one night she dressed up. It wasn't Halloween, but there was kids in her apartment complex. I happened to be living with her at the time for a little while, and these kids were shooting windows out of cars with a BB gun. And she had spotted them. She had done spotted them, found out who they were, and she came in and she dressed up. And she went outside, and I hid behind the car to watch her. And when these kids got to shooting these BB guns, she come out of there like hell on wheels after these kids, and you could hear them screaming forever, which actually made me jump up from behind the car and run in the house. Like it even creeped me out. That she'd scared the hell out of them like she did. It's like, wow, I'm getting back in the house.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome. I love it.
Halloween is actually, the witches' New Year's, and a lot of times they'll and basically all they're doing is just celebrating a good harvest and, the birth of what's about to come in the future and so forth and so on. And a lot of times they'll have a nice bonfire and they'll offer up some food to the gods, for their successful harvest, and they'll burn it, and they'll dance around all kinds of naked and shit, and it turns into one big, orgy. I mean, that's quite beautiful if you think about it.
Oh, I know you're just wistful about having the bonfire orgy, Jason.
It's kind of cool.
It is. No, it is kind of cool. I mean, they did a lot of that back in the day. I mean, back in the old time, they really did. It was a huge party and a huge celebration, and it was a time of passage into the winter season when people really, it was cold and people really had a whole lot less. So, just a completely different way of celebrating than we have now. But I love that Keith's family dressed up. My mom dressed up as a really creepy witch every single year, too. And she was so scary. And she would sit on the front porch in this old rocking chair, and she always made like this big pot of spaghetti, but it was cold because she would ice it down and let it sit around. It's like strained, there's no water in there after it was cooked, and she would cover it. And so when the kids came around to get their candy, she would tell them to put their hand in there and take one, but they couldn't see because she always had it covered with like a cloth. So they had to reach in there to feel around, and when the kids would stick their hands in there, it felt like they were sticking their hands into a pot of cold worms. And then they would scream and, try to run away. And then she'd laugh. And of course, she would give them their candy after that, But, she would pull something like that on the kids every year, but always with creepy music out front. And, it's a good time. I miss that stuff. I really do.
Hey, Keith, what kind of, cool Halloween stories may you have, as a child growing up, so forth and so on?
What'd you do?
Halloween stories.
Yeah. What kind of ways did you celebrate as a kid?
What's that, Dave?
What's your favorite costume, Keith? What was your favorite costume as a kid? What did you love dressing up as?
Oh, Lord. Okay, my all-time favorite through the years of childhood I was a big Incredible Hulk fan. So,
awesome!
Yeah, so was I. I love the Hulk. He kicks ass.
But it's, I loved Incredible Hulk so much. It was, besides wanting to be an Incredible Hulk on Halloween, my mother once caught me. I got some green markers, and I went into the bathroom and hid and painted myself up with some green magic markers.
Oh, my God.
And I'd had the arms and most of my front side done in green before she came in on me and caught me.
No.
And
get a good whipping?
Right. Yeah, I got a little scolding for that one. But, yeah, she put me right in the tub and scrubbed me raw. And, but yeah, I wanted to be Incredible Hulk so bad I could stand it.
Oh, that's cute. So any good stories about, going out? He did kick ass. Lou Ferrigno, he was the bomb as the Incredible Hulk, right? He was the best.
Indeed.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I guess my other, probably the funnest time I had, as far as dressing up to try to scare anybody, was later on this was like early 20s. I had got me and Michael Myers get up and decked out in that, and stood in front of my grandparents' house behind this great big huge oak tree, wait for people come down the sidewalk. And I guess I don't know, I did it for a couple hours or so until I was stepping out behind the tree when cars would go by, and this one car had slammed on the brakes when I walked out from under the tree. He slammed on the brakes and probably slid a good 20 yards and hollered out his window. Said, "Hey, man, come over here." I walked over to his car, and he's like, "Man, you just," I ain't going to say exactly what he said, but he said that his rear end drawled up when he seen me. And he said, "Man, you look just like him." He's like, "You scared the shit out of me." And he's like, he's like, "Keep going with it, man. That was great." And he reaches over and grabs, he had just been to the store. He reaches over and grabs a brown bag and tears it open. He's got a 6-pack of beer. He says, "Here, have a beer on me." He's like, he said, "I've been through haunted houses and everything, on Halloween and all, but that just topped it. You got me better than anybody ever got me. So, here's a beer. Have a beer."
Nice. Hey, not one guy got something cool out of it.
No way, that was awesome.
Do you still dress up for
Halloween? I had a lot of fun.
Do you still dress up for Halloween, Keith?
I haven't in a few years. I really can't say how long it's been, but it's been a few years since I've dressed up. The last time I dressed up was with a fellow songwriter here locally in Huntsville that I write with in our local group, which is called Southern Blood.
Yeah.
Me and him and two other people dressed up as we went out and found the perfect suits for it and everything. We did the Dress to Kill Kiss album cover.
Nice.
Oh, awesome.
And
yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was. What was strange is on that picture, Gene Simmons has these ugly slip-on shoes that kind of flip-flop, like in the back, like flip-flops, and 70s all the way, you know. So he's like, where am I going to get these shoes? Where am I going to find some shoes like this? Well, I got out and hit all the thrift stores, and the second thrift store I hit had that pair of shoes. So, of course, we had to spray paint them to get them the right color. But I brought those home, and he was so tickled to get those. He's like, man, this is meant to be. We just meant to be kissed this year. So I ended up going as Ace Frehley.
Cool.
And then we had Peter Criss, you know, and we had the whole gang.
They have fun makeup. Yeah, that must have been a blast.
Nice.
But I was Space Ace, and we went to a bar that we didn't know was going to get into a costume contest, but we ended up in it and won first place that night. And the guitar player that went as Gene Simmons wakes up the next morning when they gave us the prize or prize money. They put a clock around his neck, and he didn't even remember that. But the next morning he wakes up at my house with the clock still around his neck. He comes in, he's like, man, where did this clock come from? How did I get this clock around my neck? I was like, they put that on you when they gave us the prize. He was like, man, I don't remember. He's like, we won? Like, yeah. Here's your part of it. And he's like, man, I got up and seen this, went looked in the mirror, and I felt like Flavor Flav.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I was actually about ready to say you guys went as Kiss and came back, you know, busting out the noise and shit, you know. Flavor Flav, he was for that. I like Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
Kiss actually grew up not that far from me. Gene Simmons went to college 10 miles down the road from my house. Eric Carr is actually buried 20 minutes from my house. They rehearsed in Newburgh, which is like 3 towns over, before they were popular. Kind of cool. A little interesting shit.
Awesome.
But it's all good. It's all good. So I guess we can get on to everything that is Keith Ramsey for the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Keith's been up to all kinds of stuff. I know you're working on your music, and you're still doing a bunch of appearances, and I know some of them with Tracy also at a lot of conventions. All over the place. I've seen y'all going all over the place. So you're just into a mess of trouble. So I don't know. Maybe we should back up a little bit for people that don't know. Keith, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you first got started? First of all, with a paranormal investigation and how you first got interested in that, with ghost hunting.
Well, I had been interested in it in my late teen years, and got out and did a couple of things myself with a nephew tag along. couple people here and there, but I didn't know any groups at the time or anything. Got into the music more heavily and fell away from it. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until Benny came home from military. He'd been over in Iraq and Afghanistan and everything. Mm-hmm. And he had came home from military, and he called me up. I've known that boy since I was 9 years old.
Oh wow!
So he actually seen me deal with things growing up that I talked to him. There's very few people I talked to. A couple of my closest friends, and a couple of closest family members later. But I told him things that was going on. There was a lot of things going on where I was living in Tennessee. I'd moved to Tennessee. That's where I met him.
Okay.
And I was telling him things going on in the house, and was telling him about my visions.
Like what kind of things? Tell us what was happening.
When I had moved into a little town called Elora, Tennessee, which that name was changed to Elora. Later, it was called back in the day Hell's Half Acre. Where there were stories of a lot of things went down during the Civil War, which we ended up finding graves up through the mountains, Civil War era, little small plots all through the hills. But it was a little town where they say Alabama didn't really want it and Tennessee didn't really want it to begin with. And it just ended up falling on the Tennessee side. And where I had moved to, my dad opened a pool room and bar, and it was set right on the Alabama-Tennessee line. And I moved into this trailer with him, and it's where I seen my first apparition, which was a small child, a baby. I had told a couple of friends about it and everything, and they didn't know what to think about it. You know, a lot of people around those old country type of areas, don't want to talk about.
Don't I know
like
it?
Or don't want to hear it.
I know.
So as I developed a close relationship to a couple of friends at school, and they started spending the night, as always together like brothers. I'd either be at their place or they'd be at mine. The one that was with me the most, that stayed at my place the most, happened to be Benny's cousin, and he got to witness some things with me. So that's where Benny was hearing all of this and curious and all. But me and him were sitting after I'd seen the child. There were the very first thing. Let me tell you the very first thing that happened before I seen that child.
Yeah.
I hadn't been in this place maybe a week or two, and my room was on the total opposite end, away from my parents' room, on the other side of the trailer. So I'm laying in a little twin-size bed with two windows on each side of my head. These two narrow windows, and I started hearing tapping on my window, like somebody was trying to get my attention.
Oh, wow.
And I wasn't about to look out the window. I was froze up, because I knew there was no trees close enough to be touching that window to tap. And that side of the trailer, where my bedroom was about 30 feet away from the wood line. So I'm getting creeped out in my bed, hearing this tapping over and over, and can't move. All of a sudden, it felt like a vehicle had ran into the side of the trailer, and the room shook. So that brought me out of the bed. That brought me out of the bed like a damn rocket launcher. I came out, run through the house, barged in on my folks that didn't hear nothing, didn't feel no shake or nothing in the house. So I didn't sleep in that room for probably another month until I had friends coming home with me. And then I had seen the child, told my friend about it and all. And he was over one night after that. This guy had come in with a synthesizer, a keyboard.
Right.
And this fella comes in and pawns off a synthesizer to my dad for a case of beer and said, I'm gonna come back and get it. So I take it over there and we play with it. I mean, you know, we're getting all of these frequencies, all these helicopter sounds.
Yeah.
Machine gun fire sounds. It's like, you know, damn, this is like a Pink Floyd album. Yeah,
I used to have one. Yeah, I had one actually for many years. Mm-hmm.
So I had gotten a dog, a German Shepherd, that doghouse was just a few feet away from my window, and I would leave the windows up, let the air in and everything. And we had played with this thing for a little while and shut it down, and we're sitting there. All of a sudden, I hear somebody at the window, clear as day, say, "Hey, Keith." Just a calm, "Hey, Keith." He hears it. I look back at him. He's like, I heard it too. The dog's growling, staring down the window, looking back at me. The dog knows something's there, of course. I had heard my name called in that place at least 3 or 4 times, I'd say. But one of the biggest thing that freaked my friend out is when we were watching a late show, Johnny Carson, and we only had, you know, basic channels, so when that went off, it went to snow. So show goes off, and we turn TV off. We're sitting there talking. I'm sitting on my bed. He's sitting in a chair by the bed, and he's facing, looking straight forward toward the wall that's to my right, and I hear a vibration on the wall. I turn to look, and this clock, a Bud Light clock, you pull a string and it lights up like my dad, all these lights he had hanging in his bar. He gave me that light they use for a night light. This Bud Light clock on my wall was vibrating, and for a couple seconds, and flies off the wall into my lap. And when it came off the wall, I seen an arm, like smoky substance, like cigarette smoke.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It came through the wall. It forced it off the wall with enough power to make it probably 6 foot or so into my lap. And I turned to my friend, and he's in shock. I say, "What did you see? Did you see anything come out of the wall?" And he says, I seen it. I seen an arm.
Wow.
And fingers and all. It was detailed. And but it instantly dissolved. Months later, there was regular customers that came in to my dad's place. There's a lady came in, and the owner that we were renting from had a 6-year-old daughter battling with leukemia at the time. This lady was talking about this lady was talking about all of that, and mentioned that he had already lost a child before, a few years before, of a crib death.
Oh no!
And it was in my it was in my bedroom. That was the only family lived there before us.
Wow.
So that, made perfect sense.
Sure, absolutely. Wow, that's so crazy because you hardly ever see or even hear from people. I mean, I have rarely heard someone say that when they saw an apparition that it was a baby. You know what I mean? Like you hear little children, but that's kind of unusual.
It is unusual. I mean, that's the first time I've ever actually heard of an infant apparition before. So I mean, that's a very, very good experience, in my honest opinion, and I like it.
Yeah, that's it. And it's something I've wondered so much about,
I've got a question.
Ever since.
Yeah. After you had that experience, I'm sure you got. I mean, I'm guaranteed what was going on in your head is what the fuck was that, and what kind of resources did you go to try to figure out, or to lead you in certain information that you wanted to look up? I mean, what kind of resources did you resort to? Obviously, I mean, back then there wasn't, the internet wasn't popular, and you couldn't just go down to the local bookstore and say, hey, I seen a ghost. What can you offer me? Because they'll lock you up. I mean, what did you do? What kind of resources did you go to try to dig up information?
I did. I mean, like you said, it wasn't. I mean, where we lived and how we lived and everything, there was no computer around or nothing. I went on with it, and later, it was 13 years old when I had another experience in that same town with that same friend that seen the arm come out of the wall with me. And that's when I had my near-death experience, was with him.
Oh, wow.
I did not know you.
Now, I did not know that about you either, Keith. I had no idea that you had a near-death experience. I bet a lot of people do not realize that.
Well, that is the biggest reason for me finally getting into the paranormal field. And, it's like I said, when Benny called me when he got back from overseas, he said, okay, I've been talking with John from another group, and we want to get a group going, and I hadn't met John yet. And he said, when they pulled Keith along, Keith had a lot of experiences. So when he made the phone call to me to ask me about it, it was like, hands down, let's go.
Right.
But the near-death experience is the main reason for me doing what I do, because I did receive a message to speak to people. And I'm going to tell you how this happened, because one thing, it's to see the younger generation now with dabbling with the wrong things that they shouldn't, getting into drugs and anything they could possibly do to get a high is no good.
Yeah, I agree.
And I learned this from my experience, which is not exactly what I was trying to do, but me and him were, after his folks went to bed, his parents did not want him playing around on motorcycles and three-wheelers and everything like all the other kids were, and my dad was the same way. He never wanted me having a bike or three-wheeler, afraid I'd get killed on it. So me and my buddy Chris got a garden hose and tried to siphon gas out of his dad's vehicle.
Oh, wow.
Because we was going to fill a couple of jugs up and sneak out that next day and tear the fields up on some bikes and three-wheelers.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah.
Well, when we were having no luck with getting this gas out of this car, I tried and tried, and all of a sudden, I felt myself snatched from my body. I left my body, and I left the planet. I seen.
Really?
Yes, I was pulled at a speed like I seen the world dissolve and go away in just seconds.
Wow.
I found myself trapped in a cool, dark place. I could see nothing. I looked for my arms. I looked for my legs. I couldn't see nothing. And I was closed in. I was so closed in and uncomfortable. And I heard a demon speak to me. If it wasn't the devil himself, told me I'd lost everything of the world I would never see again. I'd never see my family, my friends. Everything I loved was gone. And he laughed and laughed and laughed at me. And I seen my past go backwards to being younger and younger. Things I remembered instantly growing up, like a picture show on a reel-to-reel or something. You know, just flash, flash, flash.
Like a rewind.
And yes, and it I started crying out, and what I felt was emptiness, loneliness, regretfulness, all these things, and didn't know why. And I asked God at that point, what did I deserve to be here? Why am I here? And I asked God, I begged God to take me out from this place. And I knew where I wasn't the worst that could be. I knew I was waiting there for something else to come, which I would say would be judgment. I was in a holding cell, is what I call it, waiting for judgment. And I begged God to let me go back, to please take me out of this. And at that point is when the laughing stopped. The demon went away. And I felt this bubble swallow me up. It's like I swallowed up in a bubble of peace, instant peace. My fears went away instantly, and that's when I heard the voice of God speak to me. And it was like the closest thing I can explain to how it sounded was like if you were either thunder talking or a big rushing river. And when he spoke, I felt my soul trembling, shaking. Every word he was saying was vibrating me. And the words he said was, "You're going back. You have another chance. You'll be one to tell the world of me." So I come back into my body, and my friend is in front of me, shaking me, scared to death. And he's about to go in and wake his parents up and everything to get help. And he tells me, "Man, you were gone for like 4 to 5 minutes. You weren't breathing. You didn't bat an eye. I thought you was dead. And I was fixing to go get Mom and Dad. He was like, he was gone, man. And so after that, I never spoke to anybody about my visions, which started at 5. I kept having the same vision. I've had this vision several times all through my life, but they started when I was 5. I tried to tell my folks about the child I'd seen, the apparition, and it was, you don't sleep enough, you don't get to bed on time, you hallucinate and whatever.
Keith, how long did you wait before you tried to tell your parents about it?
With that incident, with the child?
Yeah, or with any of it. Like, how long did you wait? How long did you keep it to yourself? Because I know, believe me, I know the area where you grew up, and I know how people would act about that there and how difficult it would be to tell anyone about that there. So I just wondered how long you felt like you needed to wait.
Well, that was the one, the first time I'd spoke, which I went to my dad. Pretty quick with that one. I mean, within the week, within a couple of days or so. But the reaction I got to it and all, it kind of shied me away from, maybe I just, like, nobody believes me. Nobody's going to believe me.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame you.
So I started keeping it all in. And after the near-death experience, that scared me so bad. I went to my mother, and which I had never mentioned nothing to her till that time. And I told my mother what had been going on with the visions since I was a kid. I told her that I had a vision a couple of times of being on an airplane as a baby with her, and I dreamt that a couple of times. She was like, "Well, that really happened. Yeah, you remember that." So I've remembered a couple of things all the way back to like within a year old somehow.
You unlocked it. Maybe, you unlocked it deep out of your subconscious, it sounds like. And that does happen. That does happen to some people, So when you had these visions and also the reoccurring vision, were you sort of, did this just happen to you at different times during the day, or did it usually happen to you at night, like when you were just getting ready to fall asleep, or actually while you were sleeping? When did it usually happen to you?
While I was sleeping with that.
Okay. Because everybody's different, That's why I was asking.
Right. But it's when I went to my mother and told her this, it's like, Mom, this is just driving me nuts not to be able to tell nobody this, and I don't know if she's gonna think or what, or let me know if I need some help or something. This is what's going on. And that is when I first found out. My mother says, "You're having visions." She said, "I've had them." And
see,
your grandmother has them. My grandmother read people. She was psychic, and she had vision.
There you go.
My mother
just
said,
never knew.
It's not just. She says it's not just on our side, but go talk to your grandma on your daddy's side. She's got
good.
It.
Okay.
So, and also, she had the abilities too. And not only her, but I was informed her mother before her, which was my great grandmother, was from Ireland, full-blooded Irish. She had the gift of healing, faith healing. She laid hands on people. People would get sick. There was a case of a stab wound that the guy had been in a fight, got stabbed, and he went to her instead of a doctor. She saved his life. My dad remembers when he was a kid splitting his foot wide open with a broken bottle on the ground, and they carry him straight to his grandmother, and she lays hands on him and prays over him and stops the bleeding instantly, and it heals up. You know, I don't know how long it took to heal, but it never left a scar or nothing. There was a fellow that worked with my grandpa during that time that had nosebleeds and headaches all of his life. He was dealing with his nose was just bust out, bleeding at work, and he's having these severe headaches. And my grandpa kept telling him, you know, you need to come meet my mother-in-law. Let her try to help you. And this guy didn't believe in none of that, but finally accepted it and said, okay, I'll go. My grandpa took him, and she laid hands on him, healed him, and he never had that problem again. So she had that strong of faith, that great gift from God to lay hands on people. So that's when you know, my mother's telling me, you know, you're gonna have to learn to accept what you've got, because you're always gonna have it.
Right. Well, at that point, were you, like, once you heard all that, God, wasn't it just a huge sigh of relief for you that you could feel like you had maybe a support system in place? And I mean, you had to feel so much better, right? And maybe be so much more accepting of it, because you know, things started happening. You know, I was a little child, but you know, nobody ever tried to discourage me. I had told my mom right away, and found out that, you know, that one's in my family. But for you, where you lived, you know, things being so different, that's so cool that you had it on both sides of the family like that had to open up. I mean, it's such a great support team for you to really talk about it and learn.
Yeah, it relieved me quite a bit when she told me things, you know, about vision she had, and me and my mother have we've shared a vision, the same vision.
Oh, wow. Very cool.
And there was times that she would call me out of nowhere. I wouldn't talk to her for sometimes a month, 2 at a time, and she would call me out of nowhere and tell me that she had dreamt that so-and-so is gonna, you need to watch out for so-and-so, down to the name, you know, and what color hair or who they are or whatever, you know. If I was if I was getting into a relationship or something, she'd be like, have you met somebody named, say, Cindy? Blonde hair, blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, wow. Well, she would warn me. She would call and give me warnings of what she had dreamt in her dream. And I need to listen. And her mother had done that several times with her children also. Like, for instance, my Uncle Larry, my mother's brother, was on the Air Force base in the military, and he'd gotten a spat with somebody over something, and they got after him. He was running from them. He was on a motorcycle, and they chased him down and shot him in the back. And of course, he wrecked his motorcycle, and the military had called my grandmother to tell her what had happened and everything. Says your son's been in a motorcycle accident, and you know, it's critical. It's bad. But my grandmother argues she woke up at the time that it happened. She woke up to a gunshot, and so she's arguing with them over the phone. She's like, "No, it's not a motorcycle accident. He's been shot. Tell me the truth. He's been shot. Why has my son been shot?" And they said, Miss Moore, how do you know this? and she informed me that she had woke up to the gunshot at that time. She told him the time and all. It happened. So, she did that with her kids also. So I knew to listen to my mother when these things started happening between me and her. But the out-of-body near-death experiences is something I held in. I still held in for years.
Wow.
After that, afraid to just tell anybody. Knew I needed to. And you can say I just kept turning my back on God, not obeying. So, which may be why I went through so many more struggles in life with things that I might not have to go through if I'd obeyed. Which I'm, regretful for today. But since getting out into the paranormal world and doing the TV and getting to go to all these events, has finally brought me out to be able to do it, to face my fears and try to possibly save somebody else or help them understand something similar happened to them, or maybe I can get some answers for them. I just want to find more people that's dealt with the things I've dealt with.
Yeah.
I actually thought through all the years of writing music, a lot of the songs I've written, I've ended up writing lyric contents in my songs that is feelings. It's either a life struggle, everyday life struggle, or it has to do with dealing with my visions and what I've seen and how hard it was. I seriously thought that maybe that one day, if I ever got a break in the music tree, that when people want to know what the songs are about, that would open the door for me to finally be able to explain. And
yeah, absolutely.
Then, in 2011, producer from another band that's already been successful out there, a band called Hydrogen. Mm-hmm. The two guitar players had been looking for a vocalist since 2003.
Okay.
Somebody with something different to offer in writing style and southernness. They wanted a southern boy.
Yeah.
They wanted a southern voice. But they never could find that, and they ended up forming the band Hydrogen with Jeff's, one of the guitar players, Jeff Westlake's wife.
Oh,
she became the front woman. So they did that. But when Jeff and Julie came to Huntsville to produce some friends of mine's album at a studio here in Huntsville, they happened to be rehearsing at my house at the time, so they brought them out the house to meet me and told them I was a songwriter. And he asked me to come to the studio the next day and hang out. And while they took a break, he wanted to hear one of my songs. So I said, no acoustic, played him one. And he says, man, why don't you come back to Kentucky with me? And he said, I'm going to close my studio down for 2 weeks and see what we can do. Would you want to try to write something? Maybe do an album or just see what we can get out in a couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
So I took a trip to Kentucky and locked myself down in the house with him and the other guitar player, Jeff Boggs, and we wrote and recorded an album in 15 days.
Wow.
And
how many songs was
I come back home. What's that?
How many songs did y'all do?
That was, you're going to make me think now.
Sorry. Well, that's rough. In 2 weeks? Are you kidding me? That's why.
Let's see. Seems like there was maybe 9. A couple instrumentals.
Okay.
But anyway, we had that done in 15 days. I went back home, came back home, and within a month later, he's calling me, telling me, you know, we got signed to a label. You need to get up here, and we got to, because we never performed together. We just got in a room and wrote an album.
Wow, like a jam.
Said,
yeah.
Yeah, he said, you know, we got a song going worldwide, and we got a contract. We got a record label. We're going on a European tour. So I move up to Kentucky, and you know, getting used to playing with the guys, getting ready for it and all. And it was right before the first of the year when the tour was supposed to start. We were contacted by the label, and they wanted us to go to California to do 26 warm-up shows for a group called Kill Devil Hill, which is the bass player Rex Brown from Pantera's newest group.
Okay.
So,
nice.
Yeah, I love them. Yeah, they're awesome.
So yeah, I was
Pantera.
I love Pantera.
They we couldn't go do the California dates. You know, what they offered us to do that for was just a couple $200 a night between 4 people, and you know, nobody could leave their day jobs to go do that. So we were dropped by the record label.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's because all those clubs out there, you know, they make you pay them to play. That's why you were lucky to get that going out there.
But it was, you know, once that fell through, I was at my apartment one night. I had a vision before I came back home that my dad was having another heart attack.
No.
At that time he had already had 5, and I knew this time another heart attack. So I told the boys, you know, it's like I got to get back home, loaded up, and headed back to the hospital. And the whole time is like I talked to God the whole way, and I was asking, you know, if that wasn't the way for me to open up, to reach out to tell these people of my experiences and find other people, what else can I do? You know,
right?
Why has this fell through like it has?
Yeah.
And you know, how am I ever going to do what you told me to do? So I get back to the hospital and get back with Benny and John. We go back to doing our investigations, and we were talking, you know, about all the shows coming out of the South at the time. You know, Duck Dynasty was huge, and you got Honey Boo Boo and Swamp.
Oh yeah,
and everything just crawling out of the woodwork. I
love the Swamp People. Yeah.
So I was like, you watch. Next thing they're gonna do is get some rednecks out there ghost hunting. You know, they're gonna
totally.
They're gonna have some good old boys out there ghost hunting. And so I don't know. It wasn't much time went by at all. Maybe 3 or 4 months.
Right.
When Benny calls and tells me all about, he got an email from these people in California wanting to do a Southern ghost hunt show, and so being Benny, automatically I thought, you know, he's messing with me. So I don't believe you, man. I ain't gonna believe you. But he said, well, come on out and eat, and I'll show you. I'm cooking out on the grill. So I go out there, and he pulls it up and shows me. Which, not to mention, he says, yeah, they also said that we think the guy with the beard in your group, they're a good look for a show. So I was like, now I know you're pulling my leg. But sure enough, I get up there and see that, and it's like, blow me away, and that I seen the door open right there.
Of course.
Like, okay, this is it. This is God answered me right here. So we talked about it, and you know, then he's like, I don't know, TV, I don't know. I was like, no, we're doing this. Call them back up. They want to interview. I was like, this is a calling. I have to do this.
So right away, you felt that you should do it right away then. You immediately had that feeling.
Yes. And,
that's great.
You know, it's like everything happens for a reason. There's a time and a place for everything. And, you know, if you trust in God and you ask God and you speak to God daily, He will respond, and He will show you the way.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, I seen that, and I was like, so it wasn't the music. This is it. This is going to put me where I need to be able to open up.
Yeah.
So there we go doing it, and the music comes in anyway. You know, they're like, we show up to do a little reel for them to see who they want to use. You know, they had Bama boys and had the Louisiana boys and gal get together to shoot a sizzle. And
yeah, how'd you hook up with those guys? How'd you end up hooking up with them? Was that just something that happened with whoever was at the network made the connection with the Louisiana boys over here?
Yeah, well, what's strange about it is Benny and John had, you know, they got on computers all the time, talked to other groups and this and that, and we had talked about, you know, we wanted to go to New Orleans to do some stuff. We hadn't been there.
Of course.
Do nothing. And so, you know, they had spoke with them before.
Okay.
You know,
so that's how you
find out places there.
Okay.
Yeah, and then that's what's strange is when they contact us and interview us for the show, they said, okay, we got your group and this Louisiana group that we want y'all to show up next weekend in Louisiana, and we want to film y'all investigating. So it happened to be them. That was
awesome.
That's
awesome. That is strange.
They chose our two groups out of, it was either 36 or 38, I can't remember, out of the South. And so we do all of that and come back home, and within a few days we get contacted that they definitely want us, and they couldn't choose between one of the other groups because they didn't know the difference between Louisiana Southerners and Alabama Southerners. So
that's a big difference, yeah.
It's like, you know, you all got something different. It all works. They had no idea what was going on when we go to pulling our gear out of the car, and I pull out a guitar case, and they're like, what are you carrying in the guitar case? Guitar.
Guitar? Hello?
Like, what are you going to do with a guitar? Like, well, you know, I use it on investigations, you know, just watch. And, so they was like, we'd have never thought about that. How does that work? You know? Well, I was like, well, let me just put some vibrations through the air with it and see if we get something.
Right.
And they were blown away. They was blown away by it, and they was like, okay, we got to have that involved, definitely.
Of course.
You write a song for the show?
Yeah.
So, you know, they're like, can you write a theme song for us opening for the show? Like, yeah, let me, give me a week. So, I actually wrote 2 pieces for them to choose from, and they chose one, which is what you hear the opening.
Okay, now I did not know that. See, all these new things we're learning tonight. I had no idea that you wrote the theme song for the show. That's awesome.
Yeah, that was written by me and my brother from another mother, Travis Greer, that that I was telling you about with my Southern Blood group.
Yeah, very cool. Well, I knew you had your band, over there in Alabama, and, I knew you were a player, and I had no idea that you write that. So that's a cool piece of trivia.
So not only that, they was like, will you do a song like at the end of each episode? We want you to close it with a song. So,
right.
As long as it's original. So I was like, yeah, I got plenty of originals. So the music ended up falling into it anyway. And
right.
around the second, it was the second episode we were shooting. Now I take that back. The third episode,
okay.
We were out in Prattville, Alabama.
Okay.
Doing the cotton gin. Here's when the producer comes up and says, "Well, I don't know if this is going to fly, but he said, I want you to think about this, sleep on it, let me know next day or two if you'd be interested in narrating the show." So, me being a huge fan growing up, not only of Incredible Hulk, but Dukes of Hazzard was my other show.
Yes, of course.
So first thing I asked is like, you mean narrate like Waylon Jennings did on Dukes of Hazzard?
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
And he's like, yeah, exactly. I was like, I ain't got to think about it. Let's go. So, and that's something else I've always wanted to do. Growing up, I thought about it years before. I'd like to narrate something. And I've even thought of, a cartoon character. I'd still love to do a cartoon character.
Oh, that is a fun idea, Keith. And, and of course for you to narrate it, of course, it has to be just the right thing because you're Southern. It has to be just the right thing where your voice can fall into it. But, God, a cartoon character would be awesome. I'm so sure somebody will come up with something. If you keep putting that out there, somebody is absolutely going to come up with something for you with that. I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe like a modern long lost brother of Yosemite Sam or something.
Oh my God, that is hysterical. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome. How cool. So yeah, look at how all these things that you thought about it. It just goes to show you the power of sort of not really giving up on your dreams and your vision and putting things out there into the universe. How everything just sort of starts to fall into place for you, right? And it really did. And not only did it fall into place for you, but you got to do it with Benny, who really, you grew up with him. He really is like your brother from another mother. You were with him your whole life.
Oh, yeah.
So, how often does it really happen for anybody in life where you get to, not only, hang out and grow up with someone, but then have later in life, even though you had gone through a lot of hardship, and of course, come on, Benny had to go to Afghanistan, which I have so much respect for that. I really do. And for all of our military men. But, to then for you guys to be able to do something really cool together like that, it's amazing that you guys could sort of, have a later career of that type, And, I know that now even, you're still making appearances with the paranormal, which I think is great, because I know once upon a time I had read something online, oh, Keith's going to retire from that, oh, Keith's going to take a step away from that, and personally, I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, that's, I wish Keith maybe wasn't going to do that. You know what I mean? Because everybody else was kind of still doing it. And you have such, not just you, but all of you guys, and your show, you guys have a huge fan base. You really, really do. And I think the fans were so disappointed to, hear you say that. And maybe they don't realize how big music has been in your life, what a huge part of your life it has been, and how you've had these other sort of opportunities with music because they've only seen that side of you, with Deep South Ghost Hunters and with the paranormal, maybe they don't realize how deeply ingrained in your person, music really is. So I think we're going to see a lot of good things still, coming from you with music, and I think the fans are going to stay with you for that, for that ride as well, which is going to be, I think, amazing.
Hey, Keith, what kind of style of music do you typically play?
Well, it's I've mostly Southern rock, hard rock, and metal. I've written
You'll
more.
like it, Jay.
I've written some lighter Bob Seger's type rock, folkish type things like Bob Dylanish, and blues.
I love blues.
Got some people here lately trying to lead me into some country music, which is one thing I haven't done yet, but I got a feeling I'll eventually end up doing that also.
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, when you're living over there, come on, there's 2 huge recording studios over there in Florence where I was living. There's actually 4 studios over there, and of course, you're an hour outside of Nashville. I think it would be a great thing for you. Why not be versatile as an artist? And you can certainly record Southern rock over there for sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's all.
Yeah, I really. What's that?
You can talk.
Go ahead, Keith.
One place that that I haven't had the privilege of recording at, and that I've always wanted to, is in Muscle Shoals. Muscle Shoals sound, which is where a lot of artists that inspired me growing up that I listened to have all recorded there. I'd love to go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you had Leonard Skinner, the Allman Brothers, Bob Seger, the Rolling Stones, all of those cool groups from back in the day came through there.
That place is epic. Yeah.
And wouldn't mind investigating that place.
Would be cool.
I wonder, I bet you could get in there, Keith. I bet they would let you come in there. The place isn't, it's not so huge. And everybody knows you over there. So, yeah, that would be amazing. I bet y'all could get in there.
That would be awesome.
I think I am going to try that.
Yeah.
That's what I say. I always say, you never know which way life will take you. And unless you take those risks, you'll never know. You just got to go for it and see what happens. The worst that can happen is they say no. Bottom line.
That's right.
Yeah, I said the worst that can happen is they say no. So, I mean, you really don't have anything to lose.
No, that's for sure. I mean, it sounds like Keith has taken a lot of risks, and he's just going to, keep going. So what's next for you, Keith? I mean, what's your focus going to be this year? Are you going to focus more on you have a lot of appearances coming up with the paranormal conventions? You all booked out for a lot of traveling, like coming up in the spring season, or are you going to focus more on music? No?
Well, not for the rest of the year. I've got something. I'm trying to branch out and get with other paranormal groups too.
Cool.
It's been contacted by a couple others that asked me to come do things with them, and I love that idea. So it's like a friend of mine, Richard Rowland.
I love Richard. I love them. They're such nice people.
Yeah, which was, where we met was up at the
Paranormal Con?
What was it?
The Paracon, the Southeast Paracon?
No, the horse saloon.
Yeah, that's it.
Walking horse.
At the walking. Right, that's where I saw you at the Walking Horse Saloon at the Southeast Paracon last year.
Yeah. And Richard, I've been talking with Richard a lot. Did an investigation with him a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, I
and
know
one of my
okay.
yeah, and one of my favorite locations that I talked to him about while we were up there, and very thankfully contacted me on going there with him. It's been a couple of years since I've been there. It's a very active place. Me and the Bama boys always got great evidence out of there, and to get to do it with Richard and his gang a couple of weeks ago was just awesome, and meeting these other paranormal groups and being able to fall in and do things with them, just it tickles me. I'm looking forward to doing more of that.
Well, that's great.
So when I meet people, from other groups, it's if they ask me to come join them in something, if I'm able to at the time, and if I'm able, I'm willing. And
well, that's awesome.
I love meeting everybody else in the other groups, and especially meeting the fans out there. I've met so many wonderful people, that love the Deep South show and everything, and also meeting all the guys from the other shows. It's like this past weekend, we were up in Ripavella Plantation, and I got to know Bruce Tango, and Rich Horn, and Paul Browning, and talked with Chris Dedman, which I talked to before, great guy, and Joe Chin was just super fun to get to know. That's the first time I've really got to talk to him. I've seen him here and there, but we finally got to talk a lot, and I just love that guy to death.
Joe is an awesome guy. I got to hang out with him once or twice, a couple times, something like that, and he's probably one of the funniest people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, he is great, man.
Yeah,
very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I've got him I've got him on my Twitter and Facebook, but I've never actually talked to him. So very cool.
Funny. He's a funny dude.
All right, I will. I'll have to invite him to come on the show sometime. And Keith, you get anything good at Ripavilla? I went over there last year also for 3 nights and had a great time. It's a very cool place. How'd you like it?
Oh, I loved it. I didn't want to leave.
Yeah, it's nice. I loved it too.
It was short, too short, and very sweet. But
yeah,
I would love to go back to that place and just set up camp.
Me too.
I felt in place there, and I'm definitely going to go back first chance I get.
Yeah,
and I'd advise anybody else to.
Yeah.
I'd advise anybody else to, if you hadn't been there, check it out. You won't be disappointed.
No, and they're nice people down there, too, that run that place. It's a special kind of place. It really has a special feeling, and there's a lot of activity there. Oh, my gosh, I could just stay there for a week, too. I wanted to go when you guys just went, but I just couldn't make it over there this time. And, I will definitely go back there as soon as I get a chance as well. But they'll keep on having they'll keep turning some events here and there out of that place, I'm sure. And, I would recommend it to anybody who's listening. Absolutely check it out. And I love that Keith is putting that out there about, joining in with other groups. And Keith, I think that makes you so approachable to your friends and to your fans. And I'm sure that people just will really appreciate that about you, because not everybody does that, and not everybody puts that out there, at all. And I'm sure that I will see y'all, since, I'm over here, close to the New Orleans Paranormal Society. I'm sure I'll be doing some things with them this upcoming season, and so I look forward to seeing you, and I'm sure I'll see Tracy as well, over here at some point this year. So that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
While I'm thinking about the Ripavilla, I'd like to give a special thanks to Laura Bentley out there for her hospitality. She was so wonderful. And if you're listening out there, Laura, can't wait to see you again.
Excellent. Keith, what would you say is probably one of the best places you have ever been in besides that one?
Well, I would say Fayetteville, Tennessee, Fayetteville Regional Hospital, Stanton Hospital, is where I was talking about just a couple minutes ago, where I went with Richard and the guys.
Okay.
And Denny and John always.
I saw Tracy just said y'all are going back down there for Halloween, so awesome.
Yeah, we are doing that for Halloween. And then, we're going to take a little break and get through the holidays and all. And I'm going to focus more on some music through the time off also. And matter of fact, the Kentucky band has contacted me about doing a second album with them. So they're going to be sending me things to work with, to write with, and we're going to be collaborating on a second album. Don't have no idea how long it'll take to do this one, but it'll be a little longer than 15 days this time. But I'm looking forward to doing that with them and getting my old band Southern Blood back together here in Huntsville, Alabama, to get that album. We've got an album ready to record. And then I've got solo material that I'm going to be working on also. So I hope maybe I can pump out 2 or 3 albums in the next year.
That would be longer. I know studio work ain't any ass. I've done it many times. So, boys, it a pain in the ass. What do you think are some of the most struggles that you have doing studio work?
Excuse me, Jason?
I said, what do you think are your most struggles doing studio work?
Studio work? Well, it's very costly. And, you gotta have your game together, ready to go in there. It's gonna run into problems, and time adds up quick. And I'm just a poor Southern boy, so it's kind of hard. Just the press for time is the hardest thing for me on it. Because besides the press for time, and being costly is I seem to have problems with electronical equipment a lot. So things going down in the studio, and I get this, I don't know what's going on. We ain't had this happen before. We're getting all this interference and this and that. And what is it with you, man? What is it with you? It's you. So, and I had the same problems. With Narrate, doing those recordings for the show. I mean, I had to redo them so many times because all of their stuff's just going wacko. Matter of fact, I had brought that up when they individually pulled us all off when we were doing the sizzle reel in the beginning. They pulled us all off one by one and, was asking us a question, what got us into paranormal field and everything, and what's your experiences. Well, I mentioned that, I've had light bulbs blow out over my head. I've had, problems with computers. Benny wouldn't even let me touch his computer. He's like, stay away from my stuff. But I was telling them all this, and it wasn't, within 5 minutes, the audio guy's climbing out of his van about 10, 15 yards behind me, saying, okay, cut, we can't do nothing. Y'all hold on. I'm getting other voices. I'm getting popping and sizzling. Everything's going ape shit in here. I don't know what's going on. So, producer, he's like, has it not ever done that before? He's like, no, nothing like this. This is insane. He looks back at me and I'm like, yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about right there. So, from that point on, he called me the alien of the group. He said I needed to wear like a aluminum on my head or something.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
Have you ever recorded? Have you ever recorded with a reel-to-reel recorder?
No, I haven't. I actually own one, but I never get it out. It was left to me from my Uncle Maurice, which was a Nashville session artist, finger picking style. If you've ever heard Chad Atkins, then you couldn't tell him apart from Chad Atkins.
Oh, wow.
Great musician. And when he passed, when he passed away, my aunt gave me one of his guitars and some of his old equipment that I just put in my closet and don't touch it. I just don't want nothing happening to it or nothing.
Yeah.
But I've never actually recorded on one now. And this, if you'd like to see a video, I have a video on YouTube. It was a promotional video for that for the group Urakai.
Oh, cool.
That's spelled URA-KIA.
Right.
It was a promotional video we did for the tour that didn't happen, but that is on YouTube if you want to check that out. And that album, you can find on you can get that album on Reverb Nation or iTunes.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. You should definitely send us a link to that, and we'll be sure and post that on the fan page.
Okay, cool. I'm also talking to, if you go on to iTunes or Reverb Nation and hear the song, there's a piano version of the song Long Time Gone that I'm talking with somebody about doing a video here soon. So hopefully that can be in the works real soon. We can get that out for everybody to see also.
Yeah, that'd be great too. I'm sure everybody would dig it. So, I mean, you're busy. You're doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, I don't know how you're going to get that many albums out this year, but if you can, I mean, that's going to be awesome. And I think you have great venues to promote yourself to, which really helps between all, everybody that through the television industry and everybody, all your friends on Facebook and the fan venues that you have. I mean, the sky is the limit for promotion, really, for you to really get all of your music out there. And Reverb Nation is a great place to be selling your stuff too. It's a great place to have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Now, did you know that Jason is a musician? Jason's a bass player, but among other things.
I'm a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
I know you are, yeah.
Jam something out, Bubba.
Oh, definitely. I'm always down for that shit. Always down. But I haven't played music on a professional in a long time. But I did have a record contract offered to me back in my teenage years. Funny story. I actually jammed out with Marilyn Manson, Pantera, and even Slayer. And I opened up for these bands, no less,
Awesome.
And,
awesome.
I sat and I hung out with Colin Samo doing shots. That was cool as hell. And here I was, like 16, 17. But that was back in the day. Well, anyway, I was on tour all along. Well, not all along, but, I was in Maine. I was in Massachusetts. I went to a couple places. And Connecticut. I was all over Connecticut, New York. Jersey, and I finally ended up in Pennsylvania. And we were on tour for a good 4 or 5 months, something like that. And we were playing shows with Napalm Death, BSI was there, Sepultura. It was a big thing in Pittsburgh, big fucking Monsters of Rock show. And they wound up choosing us to be one of the opening acts. And Napalm's Death manager came up to us and said, hey, I want to get you a contract. This is what's going to happen. And I backed out of it. I said,
Why?
Because I was bored. Yeah, it was hard. Like I said, I was on tour. I mean, I was like 17. I was on tour for 6 months, something like that. And when you're trying to make it as a rock star, you literally don't make anything. You don't make any money at all. You make enough money to get you from one show to the next, and even that's an iffy. You know what I mean? So I mean, I was barely eating. What?
Oh yeah, you got that right. Yeah.
You're lucky if you get enough for an English muffin and a hand job. I mean, that's
right. Absolutely. I mean, I was barely eating. The only thing I was eating was like the stale ass fucking pretzels that bars were offering.
There you go.
Needless to say, the one thing that I can get plenty of is alcohol and drugs. That flows like wine without a problem. And I just got to the point where it was like, I just want a home-cooked meal and a warm bed to sleep in. That's all I wanted. And when I got offered the contract, they said, well, you're going to finish up the tour with these guys, which is going to take another year. Then you're going to go in the recording studio and record this album, pump that out, and go back on tour for another year and a half, and then we're going to pump out another album. I'm thinking
the thing with, with music, same as, the way I'm wanting to reach out to other groups and do things, with other groups on investigations. I'm looking at doing the same thing musically. It's, starting to get some contacts here and there with people from other groups, and I'd like to do some collaborating with different artists, so if there's anybody out there that might want to collaborate on something, just give me a shout. And there's actually a guitar player in Texas that I haven't talked to in a while, but he's been on my mind a lot lately, and I wanted to try to write a song or two with him. Extraordinary lead guitar player. And he went through high school and growed up with Dimebag Darrell, was one of his best friends. And they actually learned off each other, growing up. So I got the privilege of meeting him back about 3 years ago. And we had talked about it then. So I'm trying to get back around to getting back in contact with him to make that happen also. And then, there's a guitar player from that played with Dio that I've got a track I've been working on already, and I hope to fall back in contact with him. It's Tracy G from Dio, which would be
sweet,
real interesting.
Awesome.
Hopefully that can happen.
I think it will.
But anybody else out there that might want to collaborate on something, just give me a holler and see what happens.
Nice.
Yeah,
we're definitely going to have to hang out and go Stanton. We'll bring some acoustic fucking instruments and maybe some bongos, and we definitely got to hang out around a bonfire, maybe even have some beers and have some fun.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. We can even get Jodi to dance naked for us if we wanted to.
I don't know if anybody wants to see all of that, but, we'll see about that.
I'm only messing with you.
I know you are. You're too much. I'm gonna kick your ass.
What's the point of having a radio show if we can't joke around?
I know. No, you had to get me back for the hand job comment, you know.
I had to.
Anyway.
So, do you find yourself being pulled in the more musical direction or the paranormal direction at this point of your life?
I can't say, Bubba. That's equally. That's pretty equal there. You know, it's I'm 100% on both. Want to do both, you know. So it's hard to fall away from one of them to do the other.
It is, and it's cool being involved because, you know, no matter what you do, let's just say musically, you can always bring the paranormal with you, and that's cool as hell. I mean, if you do a show in one town, you can hang out there an extra night and, you know, check out a cool building or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean, there's not really any reason to give up one for the other. I don't think there is anyway.
Nah.
No.
Do you think that it's possible that you and Benny and the other guys would probably do like a YouTube show or something like that?
I'd love to do that.
Oh my God, your fans are so thrilled.
Yeah, I would love to do that. You know, it's with us three here, it's been busy for everybody having different schedules and everything. And then, of course, you know, me going off, branching off, doing what I'm doing. But yeah, that would be. I'm gonna give him a call on that one. That sounds like an idea there.
I think it would be a huge success.
I do. I think it would.
Well, it sounds like I'm gonna have to call the boys up.
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, come on, Keith. You know, I'm on your fan page. You know that. I'm on 2 different fan pages with you guys, and I watch what people say. I read the feed, and I read the comments that you guys make, and I've been on there for, you know, like a year. So, I mean, I know that all of your people would be really happy to watch that. I mean, for God's sakes, they sit around and watch the reruns all the time and comment on it. So they would be thrilled to see y'all doing something new. Come on.
Right.
You guys would get major hits on that.
I think so.
Well, let me give them a holler and see if we can't set something up.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. And then I'm going to start a rumor. Just let me know, because I'm the mouth of the South. So just let me know. I'll spread it all around. Spread it around.
Deep South, going to the paranormal.
Oh yeah, I'll spread it around.
If Jodi was putting on the video, it'd be Deep Throat coming down to the South.
Oh no, that alone is paranormal. You know that's not normal in itself.
That one is for the hand job comment.
Damn it! Oh, I so deserve that too. I so deserve it. Oh, I'll get you, Jason. There's my evil witch voice for the day.
Well, the one thing that'll be cool about the YouTube idea is there's no pressure at all, because you'll be filming yourself, and you can do it amongst, you know, whatever schedule works best for you. You don't have no production company hounding you, and well, production companies are all assholes anyway.
Tracy could film it. Are you kidding me? She knows what she's doing.
Tracy should be a part of it, because she is a very well-endowed psychic.
And everyone loves her. She has a great fan following too. Yeah. So that would be awesome. Yeah, it would bring another element to it, and people would really like it. Yeah.
We'll just see what happens.
I don't know. Tracy just made a comment in the chat room, but I can't tell exactly what she said. Oh, she said she can't work a camera. LOL. Okay. Yep, that's because you're pretty, Tracy. Pretty girls don't work cameras.
Pretty girls deserve to be on camera.
That's right. That's right. Oh, that's okay. He's got plenty of friends over there that can do that stuff, and I'm sure Benny does too. They don't need a production company. They can have 100% creative control over the whole thing. Oh, absolutely. I don't see why not. Easy. It'd be easy.
Awesome. So what other kind of questions do we have, Jodi?
I mean, I've covered most of my questions. You know, what are they doing next? I mean, do you see yourself, are you going to still continue to do some things up here with the Louisiana boys? Or are you just going to focus on working with the Bama boys now?
Oh, God, I'd love to go do something with the Louisiana boys, too. You
yeah.
know, I don't get to see them enough. You know, I love them guys to death. Through what happened with the chemistry between all of us, with making the show and becoming friends, it's they're all family. They're family to me, and I would love to get out there as soon as possible to New Orleans and go to some of these places they've told me about. And,
there's amazing places over here. Y'all should definitely come over and visit, for sure. And
it will happen.
They know all the good places. That is that's for real. And you've got places to stay with your friends, and that'll be an easy trip for you guys. It's a long ass drive for y'all, but it's definitely worth it.
Yeah, I actually our last trip through there, we ended up staying with Randy. And, he took care of me for the night. Let's just say that. I won't get into detail, but he took care of me for the night. But, I met him at his bar down there in his pub.
That cannot be great. That cannot be okay.
So we couldn't. We were just going to pass through, but we got over there with him, and Kevin showed up, and it's like, we can't just pass through. So
they're always over there. They're always over there.
So Randy took good care of me, and we didn't just pass through, but I passed out.
I'll bet you did. I'll bet you did. So, well, at least you didn't get into that much trouble. You pretty much just got drunk and passed out, and that was probably the long and the short of that particular story. But yeah, it'll be a good time. And I mean, there's so many great locations to do events over here, and I know that particular group of guys is getting pretty good at setting up some events as well. And so I'm pretty sure they'll plan a few things this season that y'all will get involved with as well. So I look forward to seeing you guys there. I hope to get involved with some things this season as well, that they'll be working on. I'm sure I'm going to go down there and see them sometime soon. Chris actually keeps saying, when are you coming down here? So I need to get my ass down there and be friendly.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we got about 10 minutes left of the show, so maybe you want to go ahead and tell everybody all of the places where they can find you online, because all the listeners like to know that, where your fan pages are, where they can find you, what your next event is, if you know what it is, if you have one planned, the next one. And again, tell them a little bit more about where they can find your music as well. Or if you're selling any merchandise online as well, they like to know that. So go ahead and tell them that, Keith.
Okay. Well, like I said, with the music, you can find the band Urakai. That's URA-KIA on Reverb Nation and iTunes, and you can also see a video of that group on YouTube. The song title is called "Fill Our Souls." And then when it comes to contacting me, you can contact me through email, which is KeithTheRocker7@gmail.com, or you can just personally send me a message on Facebook. I answer all the messages on Facebook, and that's about. I look at that more than anything. So hit me on Facebook and talk to me.
There you go. Well, and you're good about getting back to people. You are a brave man giving out your personal email. I don't put mine out there. You are a very, very brave man because...
I think you should monitor that.
Yeah, I would like to know. Yeah, I'd like to know, Keith, how many emails you get because you put that out there, because we have a lot of listeners, and then we have a lot of replays that go on as well. So I'd like to see how many you're going to get after that. So very, very brave. At least you didn't give out your phone number, so you're safe for that. Anybody that wants to find us, we are on the Ghost Chat Radio fan page on Facebook, and also you can find us on Twitter. You can find Jason under Ghost Chat Radio on Google Plus and on Twitter as well. Jason Stanton is also available on Facebook, and you can find him on LinkedIn and lots of other sorted places online, I'm sure. And yeah, and you can find me under Jodi Smith. Jodi is Jodie, or Johaunt, Johaunts, which is my psychic intuitive name that I've had for a long time. And you can find me on pretty much everywhere: Pinterest, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Google+. So I look forward to talking to you there. No, you can't have my personal email. And no, I won't send you any personal pictures. No, okay, no. And Keith might, though, since he gave out his personal email. Maybe he sent out pictures. I don't know.
I don't think so. I highly doubt you will.
No, I highly doubt that. But he's a very brave man. But anyway... So, and Keith, where's your very next appearance going to be? Do we know?
What's that?
Where are you going next? Where's your next appearance if people want to come and see you or check you out for your, like, are you making a live music appearance any place soon with one of your bands, or do you have a paranormal appearance coming up any place else soon?
Hold on, let me ask my buddy here. Next appearance?
The only one that's got a flower out. So this is
Okay. Hey, I'm going to give you a little bit of her where she can tell you right here.
All right.
Tell them.
She's working. Hey, y'all. That's the lady behind the man, everybody.
I try to be anyway. No, we have like 5 events for next year. We have a flyer for only one of them, and that's at St. Albans Sanatorium, and that's May the 30th.
Cool. I know Jason loves it there. That's one of his places that he really likes.
Yeah. We've never been there, so I'm kind of excited to go. We got asked to do this, and I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. So. Very cool. Here's Keith back. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Tracy, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
This can go south. This can go bad very quickly.
It can go very bad. Just say no, Tracy.
Oh, kidding. Again, I do like to say congratulations on you and Keith getting together, getting married.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I heard it. And in all honesty, the 2 people that deserve it the most would happen to be both of you. I know you're both dedicated to what you do, and you're very successful at it. My question is in the future, can we personally see, well, not personally see, but can we expect to see little Keith Ramsey's running around starting up, deeper south?
Oh, I so wish. No, that is not possible. I have 2 kids and 3 grandchildren, and I am too old to have kids. But I wish I could.
So,
if I could, I would.
It's paranormal.
Hey, you never know.
You're so bad. What was that?
Just because it's paranormal, Jason thinks it could happen. But no, I knew that.
Well, miracles could happen. I mean, you're correct. I mean, if it could happen, then yeah. We would definitely love that.
Yeah, still are enjoying the grandkids. I see your page. Y'all have beautiful pictures up, and I know that you enjoy spending time with your grandkids. I know you do.
Of course, yeah. That's a special kind of love right there. It's something I'd never take back. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's all good.
It is. Well, here's Keith. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you. All right. Excellent.
See that? We got your manager there. She tells us what's going on.
That's right. That's right. You know what we should do probably next week?
What?
We should have a Ghost Chat Radio Halloween costume contest.
We could do that. Have people send their poster pictures to the fan page?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. We should totally do that. And then we did not get to play Dumbass Trivia tonight for a prize, and so whoever has the best costume picture posted on the fan page this week could win an autographed copy of Jason's book, Unrested Peace, which is also available on Amazon. And where else is it available, Jason?
BarnesandNoble.com.
Awesome. And it's very, very sexy. It's, you tell them what it is.
Sexy, but it's a lot more than just sex.
It is. It's a beautiful story about Jason growing up. Tell us more, Jason.
Well, it's just a story on some events that happened in my life. Through sex is one of them, but also other mysterious things and so forth. And that helped me grow emotionally, spiritually, and intellectually.
It's a great story about how Jason got involved in the paranormal, and you better read it so that you can look forward to his next book. So you know what happened in the first book. You can follow along with his life. So
interesting.
I don't know.
In the next book,
Steve might not have known about your book. Yeah, what's happening in the next book?
The next book, it's called Feeble Minds. It's going to be about a specific asylum that I tend to go to a lot.
Okay.
The story that I shared with the music is actually in that book.
Oh, I did not know that.
It's going to be in the prologue. It's going to be the whole prologue is going to be a story in itself, and it is in itself, and it's catching you up to speed from that moment when I left that house in the first book up until when I got married and fucked up and all that other good shit.
That's when it happens.
Pretty much.
But not for Keith, because he just got married. Everything's going to be beautiful.
That's right. Keith is not going to get divorced because he is in a very healthy, happy relationship. Mine, on the other hand, got all fucked up, and that's the end of that. And it's kind of funny because
that's a whole other story.
About that is people would actually message me and want marital advice, and I'm saying, dude, mine didn't work. What makes you think I'm going to give you good advice?
Oh, that's so true. Yeah, you got to love that. You got to love it.
That's great. Oh, well.
This has been fun, you guys. Keith, I learned so many more things about you that I did not know tonight, and those were great stories that I bet a lot of people didn't know all those things about you. So this has been a great interview, and, I certainly hope you'll join us again sometime.
Keith is
definitely. Let's make it soon. It's I've got a lot more to talk about, and
all right.
That we could
cool.
use another couple hours for.
Yeah,
so
man. I'll hit you back in a couple of months after the holidays. Then that'll be awesome.
That sounds great. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, cool. All right, we'll talk to you soon then.
It's been a pleasure.
All right. Hey, pleasure's all mine. And thank you for having me. And love you guys. And God bless you.
Oh, God bless you too, Keith. Love ya. Bye.
Thank you. Until back, everyone. Until Monday.
Holler back at me.
Okay. We will.
Good night, y'all.
Good night. Until Monday night. Nice.
Woo!
I don't know. Until Monday night, everyone. We're gonna. Well, I don't know.
You're not a Southerner.
Yeehaw!
Get your rebel yell out.
I'm a New York guy.
Well, that don't matter.
You fill him up full of shine when you see him. We'll get him to yell. It'll be fine.
One day. I'm not a Southern guy. I don't know.
I'm the guy that goes into the grocery store down south and they pull out their gun on me and say, "You're from New York, aren't you?"
That should happen.
Figure shit and get out quickly. You know?
Oh,
That's what they do to me, though.
Oh, man. That's what it is. All right, y'all. Jason, I'll talk to you over the weekend, I'm sure. Keith, I'll hit you later.
And
bye, guys.
All righty.
Excellent.
All right. Good night, y'all.
Later. And until next week, everyone, keep in mind we are going to do this Halloween costume thing contest. So start posting your Halloween costumes now, and see if you can win a cool book. And that's all I got.
All right. We'll see you Monday. Bye.
Later.